I'm going to share my other screen. I was just about to say, so we are having a sprint planning together with Matthew, welcome Matthew, and I was about to say, I was having a recap of the last weekend, and we are going to try out full text search in Rails. So last weekend, we had a lot of people visiting our site. And because of this, can you see it?
Yes,
can you see my browser now?
Yes.
So we are there, right? And this is just a very popular newspaper, and that means many people are clicking on this particular link, and then they get on our website. So we now have 660 users last time. So on Saturday we had 580, for example. So about 80 more new users. And those people have searched for broadcasts. And this is what we are going to do now, I would suggest. You have a full text search here, and many people are not searching for a certain broadcast. For example, Tagesschau, that would be the name of the daily news. But there are, for example, searching for BR, which is Bavarian Broadcasting. And we only see this result because the name of the TV station is in the broadcast title, right?
Yes, so you'd like to be able to search the entire result instead of just the title.
Yeah, what I want to do is just to have a search that includes basically everything, like the broadcast title, the name of the station, or the channel. I should say channel, right? I think channel is better. That's the thing that you switch with your remote control. No?
Yes. Remote control, you would switch channels.
Yeah. So from here on out, please remind me that I ought to use the name channel.
I mean, you can use them interchangeably.
Yeah, naming is difficult. And I want to have this text here to be searchable, because people are also searching for example, Böhmermann, and this guy is just a famous moderator and a famous anchorman. Oh, well, there's even a broadcast that has the name of Böhmermann in the title. But yeah, if the name is in here somewhere, so they say, okay, these guys, like, this is moderated by Jan Böhmermann, then chances are quite high that you type in this name and you will have a hit because of the description. And that would be great.
Now, I'm thinking this is kind of a side topic we could talk more about later, but maybe you should just go German with everything, considering it's German, right? Maybe you should just go with the native language for the model names and everything. Just you should go native with all that stuff, maybe.
Yeah, so the description's in German, right? And yeah, the point here is we don't have English description for that. People are searching on the web, and they will hit the websites of the channels, and there you have the German description, and that's it. And they are not usually translated. Right. So right here, every broadcast title and description are not translated. Okay? Everything else is, but this is not translated. And we have to deal with that for now. Right?
Right.
I think the rest, we should have an English version of the website, because people like you then...
yeah, I mean, having an English version is awesome, but you should make the German the primary. Like, if there's a question, just go German. Should be German. Should be the primary, and then
the default.
The default, yes. Everything should default German, like your naming conventions, the model, everything should be primarily German, because that's, I mean, people would be thinking the way Germans are thinking, not the way Americans are thinking.
Yeah. So the way it's currently implemented is that you just take the browser language. So my browser is currently configured to be in English, and that's why I see the English version. If you, for example, ask the API and you don't provide the language, then you will get the German version as a default. But most people, so because you can actually ask the browser, hey, what language you are like using, yeah, we can make use of that, right?
Right.
So, thankfully, all those queries here. So you see, when I search for something, you see the query up in the URL. Can you see it?
Yes.
And we have one analytics software in the website, which is Pivik. So we can see what people are actually searching for. Does it make sense?
Yep.
So this is our Pivik instance. And you have, I don't know, you have a dashboard, for example, and you can see basically what people are doing. So there's one guy who was really into this site because he has visited so many different sites. So whenever you, for example, check out the statistics or a new visualization, this is another request, or this is a change in the URL, and this will be one action here in Pivik. And you see all those searches here.
Probably shouldn't be putting IP addresses on here.
Say it again?
IP addresses, you should probably.
Yeah, the IP addresses are anonymized. So only the first two, how do you say, groups?
Mm-hmm.
So this is all zero.
Be the first two octets.
Yeah. So only those are visible.
But anyways.
Yeah. All I can see is like what's his browser language, what kind of browser he was using, what operating system, and basically that's it. And where they came from. So for example, this is this newspaper I was talking about, and he just checked out the index page and he left, or she, which is okay. But yeah, let's have a look into the searches. So here, people immediately understand that they are searching for broadcasts. But a lot of times, they are actually, for example, making typos like this one here, street philosophy. I think he wanted to say street philosophy. Can you actually see the tooltip?
I can't see the tooltip.
You can't see the tooltip, okay. Is there any way how I can show it? Visitor log maybe? There we go. So this was one visitor here. You can see the highlighting, right?
Right now, there says Robert is having connectivity issues.
Oh no. Okay, just tell me when you're ready. All I want to tell you is that we have query parameters, and people are mistyping things. For example, they are typing in the name of the channel, then they are searching for people that are in the show because they don't know the name of the show, and so on and so on, right? And there are a lot of things. So right now, people have to use the exact broadcast title or a substring of that in order to find it. And that's it. And that's not very user-friendly, right?
Right.
So is my live stream back?
It's like flashing in between.
Oh no.
It says you have connectivity issues.
Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah, I don't know if I guess the page you're looking at is a little too it's degrading your using up too much bandwidth.
Yeah. Anyhow, so for example, here somebody typed in mit offenen Karten and the lowercase version of mit offenen Karten. There's a typo. What else? Okay, I don't know this broadcast. It sounds rather funny. Yeah. And I would actually like to catch all this. And this is basically issue number 132. I'll also put that into the Slack. Yeah, and yeah, that's basically it. So my idea was, again, like we did last week, how to tackle this with a proper test, right?
So all the misspellings and typings and things. Is that what you're trying? What would you be trying to test for exactly?
Yes, I would actually all those. I want to basically show how you sometimes you cannot anticipate what people are typing in, what they are searching for. And I showed you how our PVIC looks like, how people are behaving, and we want to improve the search and take account or take care of, take into account like that people are searching for the channel, not the broadcast or people that are in this show. And I would use this as an example. And all those examples are perfect test cases. Is that clear? Does it make sense? Like, is it?
I can't. Your screen's a little bit blurry, so I can't see.
Oh no. Listen, or could you hear what I was saying?
Yeah, I can hear what you're saying. Yes, it makes sense. What you're trying to model the literal user behavior instead of the perfect case where the user types in exactly what they knows exactly what they're looking for and how to look for it and gets there directly.
Yeah, yeah. And I just see that somebody is also in the Jitsi meetup. He's called Phraveen, and he also asked if we are using Elasticsearch for searching, and that's a very great question. So when you think full text searching, you usually think Elasticsearch. What is Elasticsearch? Elasticsearch is an index, or it's just a piece of software that helps with searching. It's a particular implementation. There's this game, Elasticsearch Rails, and I haven't never used it so far, so I have absolutely no experience with it, but I do know how this works.
But so I think this will make your searching much more faster and much more cleaner also.
Exactly. So I think internally it creates an index,
Yes.
so-called inverted index, and it's mapping words to documents.
Yes, correct.
It has a list of all the words. Well, I'm pretty sure it can rank ones by frequency, and then for each word, it would be the word, and then it would have a reference to every place it appears right after the word.
So I have some experience with it. So
Yeah.
far I've worked with it. So there are some analyzers and some kind of methods or implemented in this Elasticsearch, which will create indexes. So let's suppose we have some kind of ID. So there are these anagrams analyzers. So as you type, so let's suppose the ID is 12345 6. So as you type 123, it will show all the records which matches which has 1 or 1 2 or 123 in their IDs.
Great. Well, that's awesome. That would be really useful. Honestly, I would like to have Elasticsearch in our piece of software, but I'm not quite sure if we actually need it. So I would just suggest that we start with a test. So we have a problem, obviously, and we have to somehow solve this problem. And Elasticsearch is one way of solving it. And I will not answer so I'm up for it. But yeah, I really don't care how the problem is going to be solved. I think you can also use plain Postgres for it, but more faster and more sophisticated would be the Elasticsearch solution.
So with Postgres, you just have to make sure you can use full text search, I believe. I'm not sure in all the details, but probably what you have to do is just add an index to the columns that you would want to do full text search on.
Yeah. So to sum it up, I would say the disadvantages and advantages of both solutions are that with Elasticsearch, you have a better search. I think it takes into account a lot of things like case sensitivity or typos or all the associations that documents have. So I think you can do all this, create an index on all the different attributes and all the connected models. Is that true, Phraveen?
Yes.
So the search is, let's say, it's better, and it's also way faster. So the performance is better.
We don't know if it's going to be faster or not. Really, what it has is more features, and if you have something with Elasticsearch, you could have multiple data sources and be like aggregate them all together. You have like 10 databases, and you want to search all your 10 databases at the same time.
Yeah.
You have one database, and like whether you're going to actually get performance improvement, that's questionable. Like that's
Yeah.
You don't know unless you measure it.
So if you use the analyzers, in a good sense, in a good implementation, if you do it, so it will be much more faster than the this full text search. But like we had this content of the broadcast or the channel, which is pretty much big text content, and we use anagrams for that, so that would make it quite heavy. So that's not efficient way of solving. So yes.
Regarding performance, we currently have 660 users and only 432 broadcasts. So let's say the broadcasts are our documents, then it would mean that we have like 400 documents, which is not so much, I would say. Can you actually see it? Is it the live stream?
Very small.
Yes.
I think Postgres, they talk about having like 10,000 entries or less than 10,000
more than
entries.
So performance should not be that big issue in our case. I do know that this is like in big applications where you have a lot of documents, this is another story. But in our case, I'm pretty sure that performance is not such a big issue so far. But I'm also up for Elasticsearch, and I'm up for more performance solutions. I'm very, very open-minded, let's say. I really don't care about the actual implementation. I'm first of all, I'm interested in how to solve the actual problem or define the problem, let's say. And I would suggest to start with a test, and just write down one by one what we want to expect from the search. So, for example, I do have the name of the showmaster in the description. When I search for the showmaster, I want to get this broadcast, for example, right?
Yes.
Does that make sense? Like, does that sound like a good idea after all?
Yes.
I mean, I'm really, I really appreciate your feedback. And apparently, you've used, for example, these kinds of tools already. And yeah, I mean, I would really appreciate your feedback. So, what's your opinion about it? Shall we do this?
Who are you speaking to?
I was actually speaking to both of you.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I have actually done text mining before, so generally what you do is you index everything. Well, you have a list of stop words, so you don't want like words like the and stuff. It's just like the most simple. Like first of all, just start as simple as humanly possible, and if that works, then you're done. If it doesn't work, then you can get more complicated. That's kind of the ground rules for all of this stuff, I think.
Yeah, and you can also have features like stemming, I think, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you could do stemming and all kinds of like rules for finding like locations and people and things of interest, like understanding. But if you just have, like see what you can get just by indexing frequent things that are searched for frequently, and things like just based on word frequency, and just minus stop words, and see what comes up, just matching words with and then you can do like stemming, and if words are appearing in bywords, like words appear, you can get way more complicated than that. And I don't really know how all the complicated statistical analysis would go, but just the basic stuff probably will give you some good results.
Oh, that was me. I accidentally closed my browser window. Sorry for that. I'm back. Yeah. Yeah. So I was. Yeah. So I would just say let's do that. No. Create some examples as a test case. No.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good idea.
So I'm going to share my editor, and I hope you can see it. So I'm currently in the backend folder of our application, because obviously this is something like a backend task, because the front end will just send a query parameter. I can actually show how this looks like in the browser. Share. So what's the front end doing? When I search for something, I can see in the network tab that it's just sending a certain query parameter. Sorry. Which you can see here, right? So I can search, for example, for Matthew, whoops, and I do see the query parameter here. Can you see it, Matthew?
Screen is
the connection is not so good. Okay. So yeah, so the query parameter is just sent to the backend, and the backend will return a list of broadcasts. Then it's just this Q query parameter. So all the search will be implemented in the backend. Okay. Right. So all we have to do is to provide a request spec. So all we are using our spec, and I'm calling those test software test specs. And let's share my editor. I just prepared something. I hope you can see my editor now. Can you see it?
Yes. So you're saying
Awesome.
The first thing you have to do is create an index, right?
Create a what?
Create an index for searching.
I wouldn't even start with that. I would, in this tutorial, I would be happy if we just create some test files, and the implementation will then be further on, like agile development, test first.
Okay,
right?
So you're going to write some tests and assume that, like, what assumptions are you making?
Yes, exactly. I just put in assumptions. So I created this request. Is the font size big enough? Can you actually read something?
It's blurry again.
Oh no. Well, this is really annoying. Yeah, I mean, this is not fun. Tell me when, as soon as you see something, okay?
Maybe if you have a C9, if you have set up this project on the C9, so that we can all open it up and look at the same screen at the same time.
we're looking at the same screen at the same time.
I mean, not on this this video,
Yeah.
but in a separate browser tab, like we do these mob sessions, no?
Yeah, I do have the live stream on YouTube. I'm not quite sure if you can. I'll just share it with you. Maybe you can see something. But for me, it looks like the stream is currently frozen. But you can give it a try. Just have to see where we can share it. Oh yeah, there we go. So here's the link. Oh no, this is the wrong one. This is the right one. So this is a link to the YouTube live stream. Tell me if you can see something in there. But
maybe you could try reducing high definition to standard definition.
It says this video is unavailable.
Oh no. Yeah. All right. How can I change the video quality?
On the left side menu at the
last
bottom.
button, this
low definition. So it's not changing. I just clicked on low definition and I still see high definition in the.
It takes time.
Yeah. Weird. I mean, if this is really not going, if we are keep having troubles with the connection, for example, it's really not worth to explain you what I'm going to do. I was just about to write some RSpec tests, how you can create some examples for your searching and the expected results. But this is not going to work if you cannot see my editor. You still cannot see anything, right?
Right.
If I share my entire screen, maybe that changes something. Can you see now something?
You can see it.
Is something happening?
You can see your screen, but it's kind of small.
It's kind of small.
Yeah. Maybe we should try and figure out the streaming thing and try this again.
Now? Better?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay, so but you can see my editor.
Yeah, I can see your editor.
All right, awesome. Yeah, so I just created this RSpec test here. So this is the RSpec test. I just said, okay, it's under requests. So you can see it here. So we have the spec folder, we have the requests folder in there, and we have the broadcasts folder. And there's an RSpec test that's called broadcast searches spec. And this is this one here, right? Okay.
Yes.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Cool. So it says, if we accept the route broadcasts, that's the same URL that the frontend will consume, and we send a particular query parameter. We are expecting that we get some certain results. Right? So this is the URL / broadcasts. We have an action. Are you familiar with the let syntax, Phraveen?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. So this is just a method that we just run once. So we send a GET request to this URL with certain parameters and with certain headers. Okay. And then we get response back, and we just parse this as JSON.
We can also use let bang here also, no?
We can also use what?
Let bang method.
Yes, we could. So the difference, that's a good question, Phraveen. The difference between let bang and let is that let bang will always execute this method.
No,
and let only executes this method when you call it.
So I think just below this, you're calling subject do and calling these two lets.
Exactly, right? Exactly. So this is personal preference, honestly. I don't like the let's bang syntax. Why? Only because it's hard to see. I often overlook the bang.
Okay.
Exclamation mark, and that's why I just say, okay, we have the subject and we are calling action, and then we parse the JSON, and that's our subject. Let's say that's the search results. Right? Does that make sense? Matthew, how is it going for you? Can you follow?
About this bang thing.
Say it again.
About the bang operator, putting a bang operator at the end of let. So if you leave off the bang operator before each block, so you have like the subject block, I'm calling it. So you don't leave off the bang, then the let puts the JSON parse thing into scope one time. But if you put the bang on there, then before each block preceding it, it would do it again. Is that correct, or is that not correct?
Exactly. So it is let bang is equivalent to having just the let and just say before
each
to JS, for example. So this would be more or less the same thing. And I even do this sometimes because I really don't like the let bang syntax because it's so hard to, so it's easy to oversee. When I want to be very explicit, I really write down this block here. I try to avoid that usually. I also try to avoid let bangs because I think you can only create the data in the database if you need it in the test. So there's a reason behind this lazy initialization, because it will only be initialized if you actually need it, if you access it.
Yes.
But that's a good point. I mean, you have to think about it because you have to get the order right. So whenever subject is called, all those things will actually happen. So you have to first write into the database the broadcast that you're expecting to get. Then you issue the request, not the other way around. Because if you do the request first and then you write into the database, the response will not contain your search results. Is that clear?
Yes.
Awesome. So here I say before, and it's because I say, okay, given we have a broadcast, that's the broadcast that we're about to find, it has this title, this is an interesting broadcast, find me, right? And I'm setting the params here. Why do I do that? Because I want to search for find me. And the params will be put into the action. So the params will be sent to the backend in the request. Is that clear?
Yes.
So I usually do it. So first of all, params are empty, but I can set it with let params q find me, and then I create the broadcast that I want to search.
Makes sense.
Now it says return only relevant broadcast. So what happens if I just run this test now? While I was waiting for you, I just tried it out, and not everything is working as expected. So I just show you how this looks. Oh, I have to switch to the backend folder. Tests, broadcast, oops, broadcast searches, spec. What's happening? All right, yeah. So I copied. That's a copy paste error. It's expecting 10 records, but it's actually just one. Here. If I run it now, this test will be fixed. Okay, so 2 tests are already green. These are the tests that were there already. This is the current behavior. It's always great to have some green tests just to make sure that the tests are actually working as expected. Sometimes, well, you should write the test. If the implementation is not there, the test is expected to fail, because it cannot pass if the functionality is not there, right? So test-driven development means you write tests that are currently failing, then you implement it, and then the test will be green. Does that make sense?
Yes, correct.
But my way of doing it is that I do both. So I write a test that is very similar to the one that I actually want to write, just to make sure that I understood the test setup. Right?
So there's no tests for your tests, so you gotta make sure.
Yeah, it's amazing, more or less a sanity check that my test is actually doing the right thing.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah?
Yep.
So what do we want to? So I'm just, and this will be it for today. I will now, for example, write 3 examples of what we just discussed. And the test will then be read. But as soon as the search is working the right way, those tests will turn green. They will pass. For example, we could say query is the name of the TV channel. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And the only thing I'm currently changing is that I changed the query parameter. Oh, I have to change params. Or maybe better, I say let query. And one very famous TV channel is Arte in Germany. Let's say I have a query here. You understand what I'm doing? Not yet, probably. So for convenience, I just defined 2 lets, one for the params, and I put that up here. It's just a query, and that's it. And so I don't have to type so much later on. I just say let query find me, and here I say let query, and that's the name of the TV channel. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm not quite sure if that's okay. If you understand it. So this would be the TV channel.
So you have like a default value, basically, and then it's going. You're setting like a params with the default value for Q.
Yes, right? Exactly. So this is the default is just I want to have the params, which is a hash containing a key Q with the actual query string. So later on, I only have to type in the query string that will change. So I try to write RSpec tests and only include the changes. I don't want to type everything down all over again. I have, let's say we are doing edge testing, that I will change only what actually changes. And in our case, the query parameter will change, and that's basically it. So right now the model is called station, not channel. So I'll say create station, and the name of the station will be Arte. That's it's the same name like the query parameter. And then I say Expect subject to, yeah, so this is more or less the same, like there's the search result. I could say it is found to period. Oh, and now of course I have to override the broadcast, because the broadcast will be broadcast, but it has stations. This this one here. Okay, so I'm creating a station, and I create the broadcast, which has this, which is connected to the station. So this broadcast is, for example, broadcasted by this TV station or channel, as you wish. I search for the name of the channel, and I want to make sure that the broadcast is found. Is that clear? Silence. Is it there? Are you still with me? Hello?
Yes. Sorry, the connection was going.
The connection was bad. Okay. So is everything clear that what I'm currently doing here?
Yes.
So let's see how this is going to work. Run the test again. Okay, so this is not expected. Undefined method stations for broadcast. Oh yeah, right, because right now a broadcast has just one station. So this is why I always try to create some green tests first, just to make sure that I'm not making any mistakes in the test itself. And this time I was wrong. A broadcast has just one station. Okay. There we go. So expected 1 got 0. Are you still there?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is exactly what we want, right? We are basically, this is our first test example, right?
Right.
And the next thing we're going to do is maybe we just copy that and say, here is the name of the showmaster. Okay. This is what happened. People search for the name of the showmaster. And then I'd say, okay, in the description, we have a description like awesome show with Matthew as the showmaster. Okay. And then I'd say I'm searching for Matthew. Does that make sense?
Okay, so there's Matthew in the description, and you want to be able to do a full text search, so you not just the title like before. So now you're also searching description, and so this should return something.
Exactly. So when we are trying that out, yes, same thing again. We have 0 results, and we are expecting 1. Okay, so this is great. And our last test case for today will then be how to ignore typos. I will go back to our example on PBIC. So I think a person typed in philosophy, and it mistyped it with a missing I. So query has typos. I think the example was philosophy. Yes, there's a missing character here. The podcast is actually called philosophy. And yes, I still want to have this broadcast found. There we go. So our test cases are there. Is that is it reasonable for you? Like, did you learn something, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, it's a good practice just being able to talk about and describe what's going on. So I think so. I enjoy doing these with you.
Yeah. Last thing we can do is, because we already know the name of the issue we are about to solve, is that we can actually already send a pull request. So even this is about to fail our build server, this is all fine. We can create a work in progress pull request, right? So what did it change? Yeah, I only changed the files in the folder spec, and I can basically add those files and say commit. Whoa, what's happening here? Created some test cases for issue number 132. I think that's the issue number.
Yes.
Right? And I say git push origin upstream 132. So now the branches the branches on our remote. I will now stop the screen sharing and show you my browser window instead, because I'm going to send a pull request now. Okay. Oops. There's our branch that we just pushed, and I just say compare pull request, and I say, okay, this is obviously work in progress. Cases for issue number 132, but you can also already say that this is about to close 132. Create pull request. Cool. And here I can see what I actually did. Okay.
Yes.
So I hope you learned something. Like I usually I'm more interested in how can I test something, how can I start with something, make a plan, and I think about the actual implementation later on. I still haven't decided whether I want to use Elasticsearch or whether I want to stick with Postgres. I mean, Elasticsearch has some disadvantages because it's more software that we add to the repository, and having just Postgres would be fine. But yeah, in any case, this test here should be green. If we use Elasticsearch or Postgres, it doesn't matter. This is what we want to achieve, right?
Right.
And yeah, I hope I could help you, or I could yeah. You learned something, and how is it going for you so far? Was that valuable for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I always try to do way too much up front. It's getting used to just the practice of making that small test, which you have the routine down pretty well. So
yeah.
Just
great. So you can always give me feedback. I mean, I would love feedback. It's the first time I'm doing this kind of thing, and yeah, I just want to make sure that you can learn something, right?
yes, that was pretty good. Maybe another one we could try testing models. I want to I want to learn how to write specs for models too, like data structures and so forth, if that's possible.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Next time we can talk about writing RSpec tests for models, which is way easier than you think.
In controllers, you have to write more things. You have to stub request. In controllers, you have to write more things. You have to stub request. You have to, expect those stubs. And in models, it's quite easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well then, I would say let's call it a day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Night.